Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Craig Kreskis. I am really excited to bring you Copilot and Viva Sales along with Dynamics 365 Sales. This is the second video in a two-part series enabling you as pre-sales engineers with guidance on how to begin to demonstrate Copilot in your sales opportunities. The first video is all about how to configure Viva Sales with Copilot. This video is dedicated towards how to do the demo. How do you present this to an audience and get them excited about all these new capabilities and making them much more productive with the tools and resources that you've configured? So again, this is all about the audience, right? You've set up and configured in the first video. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now I'm just going to set the stage very briefly on what it is you're going to show and what it is you're highlighting around these AI-assisted experiences. The first part, and we all know this, how long it takes to follow up with emails and meetings. And so the goal of the first area of the video with Copilot and Viva Sales is to leverage the AI-generated experiences and provide you with copy that you could then use to send back and forth to your communications with clients, prospects, etc. And then the second area I'll talk about is all around capturing the moments inside of sales meetings. And I've got a full experience from a customer call to the end recap of those meetings and using intelligence, and then integrating that into our Dynamics 365 CRM or sales opportunity. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And so again, the flow for this video is I'm going to start out with receiving an email from a prospect, and I'm going to use the AI, the artificial intelligence generated emails to provide an easier, quicker response. From there, you'll see in the note of the email, we're going to create a meeting. I'll prepare for the meeting, and then we'll actually conduct the call, and then after we're done, I'll leave or end the call, end the recording, and we'll look at all of the insights and action items that have been generated. So again, let's start out. I get an email with a prospect. This is someone who has not done business with us. So I get an email from Alicia. You could see in the body of the email, looking for some information, also is interested in documentation or discounts and any of the return policies. Now, typically in a sales cycle, what do I have to do? I have to minimize Outlook. I have to go log into my sales system, my CRM system of choice. I got to go look up that customer, and then if they're not set up, I need to go set them up. And it's a long manual process, except when we have this Copilot experience. So on the right side, with Copilot installed with Viva Sales, first thing you'll notice is that we recognize that this prospect is not set up inside of Dynamics 365. So I want to add Alicia to that. And you'll notice it sees from the body of the email, the first name, the last name, the email, and then you could add additional details like the account, phone number, etc. I'll go ahead and save Alicia. So now, because I made that connection to the account, you'll see that I have other opportunities associated or related to this. I'll back that out. And now the second part is I can leverage these pre-built categories. As you can see, I can either reply to an inquiry or offer a discount, make a proposal. I can even ask ChatGPT or Copilot here to describe the email. So I can describe what it is I want to reply with and then go from there. But I'm just going to use one of the pre-built templates, and that's a reply to the inquiry. And here you can see that I have now an email that may have taken me 20 minutes to craft, think about how I want to get this message across. Now, if I'm not comfortable with it, you can use the try again button. You'll also see here a little bit later in the demo, these are all hot areas or hypertext. So if, for example, Alicia's set up in Dynamics, I now see information about it. The same, I can get a preview of this meeting on my calendar. And then if I want to make changes just to this, I can just type it in the panel on the right. But let's go ahead. I'm just going to copy the text. I'm going to reply, and then I'll paste that message. And again, I have the capability to override whatever text was provided. So again, you could go in and retype any of the words and rephrase. For this, I'll hit send. And now I've sent that email off to Alicia. And now I'm going to go ahead and invoke the Viva Sales Copilot once more, because I want to save this dialogue to my CRM or Dynamics 365 sales application. So I've made the connection, and here you can see I can save the summary, which is nice because I can see 3 bulleted areas. Alicia asked me for information, I provided details, and I also suggested a follow-up meeting. So I can save the summary, assign it to any of the records in Dynamics 365. In this case, I'm going to associate it to an opportunity. And now that summary has been saved, but I want to go one step further and save the entire email. So I'll do the same thing. I can search on the record and then go ahead and hit save. Now, if we switch to Dynamics 365 Sales, so we'll go over here and I'll go ahead and switch to my Sales Hub, and I open up Alicia Thomber. Here now, you can see on the timeline, I have email that I've saved. I can open up the opportunity and see all the details around this opportunity. Again, I've got inside of the timeline, I've got the email that I saved, also the summary that was generated from the Viva Sales Copilot experience. And so again, there's all that information right there. So that's the starting point of a communication or dialogue with a prospect and a seller. Now let's just assume Alicia has accepted the meeting. So we'll go ahead and, or actually go create the meeting. She's told me that she wants to meet. So I go ahead and create a new event. And again, I can use the Viva Sales Copilot here, or I can just use it from the ribbon. And I'll save this meeting. Again, I'll associate it to the opportunity, and then I will send that out to my client. So I've got this on my meeting, and then if I come back into Sales Hub, you'll see here in the timeline, the seller immediately recognizes the meeting appointment that's posted inside of the timeline. So if I open that up, here you can see I'm able to, when it's time to invoke this meeting or join it, I can join it from within Dynamics 365 Sales. I could join it inside of my Teams, or I could also join inside of Outlook. And you can see that icon here in the Teams. Again, I've made that connection during the first video during setup and configuration. And so I've got an active meeting, but also as the seller, it doesn't matter which application I use, whichever one is on the forefront of my computer screen, that's what I'll use to join the meeting. Now, in terms of preparation, I can come to this meeting here, and then again, I'll invoke the Copilot for Viva Sales, and you'll notice here I've got that opportunity summary. So if there's additional details, it's a great way for me to quickly review the opportunity. So again, it'll be up to you as a seller to make sure you have some information there. So if I select on that, again, you get a little toast or a little pop-up, and you notice on the bottom right there, it says the source is Dynamics 365. So I can go ahead and open that up in the native application. All right, so we have covered so far the first area around using AI to generate emails. I've created a meeting, and then I've prepared for the meeting. And so I wanted to take a quick pause and then highlight the next two, because it's kind of the second half of this video or this demo. And that is, I'm going to conduct the meeting now with my prospect. We'll use Teams. And then after the call is over, we'll review the call insights and the action items. So I wanted to give you a different visual roadmap just for those two. So again, the customer is going to join the call at the agreed upon time. I, as the seller, will invoke the call. I'm also going to turn on recording and transcript. I'll manage the call for a few minutes, and then we'll regroup as a team after the prospect drops, and we'll look at the summary. So again, first step, the customer joins the call. So here I am. I'm inside of Alicia's calendar. She selects join, and now she hits join, and notice she is in the lobby waiting. Now me as the seller, I'm going to go ahead and join simultaneously. I'll select the calendar invite and then join. Now join now. Now the few things that are up to you as the seller, or in this case here, if you're the pre-sales and you're doing the demo live, is you do need to go into the toolbar in Teams, select transcribe, confirm the language, and notice you get a little pop-up here. It's important that you do review the privacy policy with your client or the person on the other end of the call. And then the second step is you just need to hit the record button. Those two key elements will provide the insights after the call is over. Now that I've got the recording, I've talked to Alicia, and I've reviewed the company policy and privacy policy, the customer is okay, and we go in and talk business. We review all the needs and any action items that have come up in order to move this deal to the next step. At this point, we're 6 minutes into the phone call. You see in the timer on the top left, we have agreed to complete the call. The client leaves, and as the seller, I need to go into the more area of the toolbar. I need to stop the transcription. Same thing here, I need to stop the recording. And now there's a button here for Viva Sales. I don't understand the entirety of the real estate here just yet. Maybe for a future release, we'll use that. But I also wanted to show you when you're done with the phone call, you can go back into the toolbar and you could review the transcript while Viva Sales and the conversation intelligence and all of the analytics is being generated. It'll take a few minutes. Once it's done, you've reviewed the transcript. You see on the left-hand side, I've got a pop-up, a new message from the chat, and make sure that I close the call. But you'll see here inside a chat, I have the Viva Sales call summary. And so that call that I had with Fourth Coffee with Alicia, I can now review the summary. So this is an amazing, incredible, insightful resource for both the seller and the sales management team as they can begin to review the results of that call with Viva Sales combined with the conversation intelligence that captures, as you can see at the bottom, sentiment, as well as on the right side, the transcript that's available for review. Now, as a seller, I was very careful and deliberate in making sure I identified tasks that I would do to follow up. So you can see under the recap tab, I have 2 follow-ups. So if I click on the create task, what this allows me to do is record an open task or assign that to me inside of Dynamics 365. Now, I'm not going to do it for this particular demo, but again, you can see just here in the dashboard a lot of information. Again, the sentiment, positive, neutral, anything negative. And then if I go to the mentions, here, Viva Sales with Copilot is combined the conversation intelligence. It lists all the key words that were mentioned, the people on the call, maybe key questions that were asked by the seller. And then if you want to analyze that and say, hey, when did we talk about budget? When you click on the keyword, the transcript, it brings you directly to the transcript and also on the timeline and the sentiment. And then you could tell at this part of the call, I started to talk about pricing and I was working towards closing that conversation. So again, a ton of information, very rich, and that is kind of the highlighted demo. Now there's one more step I didn't mention, but I wanted to show that is also very valuable, and that is the opportunity where as a seller, I want to close the loop. And that is to summarize the sales meeting that we just had. So here I am, I'm on the email with the Copilot invoked. Again, I can use one of the pre-built, but then I also have this option that says, hey, you had a call. Let's summarize that meeting. And so here, I mentioned earlier in the demo, I can hover so I can see information about Alicia, but also, again, any other details. So if I have Fourth Coffee, I can look at the count information. And again, I can copy that text, hit reply, paste it, and now I'm able to send a quick email Of course, I will review what it is that was generated, but I can send that email off to my prospect and have that full circle from new email, setting them up in my CRM application of choice, and then using all of these features to be so much more productive in the sales cycle. Listen, I want to just leave you with a few resources that were very helpful for me in my education. First, there's a dedicated page for all of the Copilot experiences. I've given you the link here on the Microsoft.com page. Second, there is a dedicated page for all of the Viva applications, including Viva Sales. So this is incredibly helpful as I was using it around features. I know you'll have questions about pricing and any of the FAQs. The other resource I found very helpful is the blog that came out earlier this year introducing all of the Copilot applications that are in market so that you understand what's in preview, what's in private preview, and then also what the roadmap is. So I wanted to make sure you had the same tools and resources that I had. Obviously, the docs.microsoft.com is a great tool for you to get into more of the details and read about these features as they're being released. I also will refer back to the highlighted 2-minute videos that the product teams, the engineering teams produced. And so if you want to take a look at any of the other Copilot videos, whether it's customer service, Business Central, customer insights, marketing, again, there's a shorter video of Viva Sales on this page. I gave you the landing page for that. And then the last two resources are extremely helpful, and that is there are click-through demos. So it is a simulated experience. There are two versions. One has this little pop-up bubble, so you just click the next button and it'll guide you. So it's basically a guided demo. Then there's the same exact video or guided demo, but it doesn't have the guided tips. So basically, if you wanted to if you knew where the clicks were, you can navigate and go forward on this screen. And so again, I gave you the URL links for both of those. I want to thank you all so much. It's an exciting time to be a Dynamics partner. My name is Craig. I want to thank you again. I provided you the link of at the bottom right corner, our calendar. So if you're interested in any upcoming live events, that's a great resource to refer back to. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you again on a video real soon.